In this video, this girl is seen crying on TikTok after she lost her mother and stepfather. What everyone didn't know was her true nature. In another video, she stood before family and friends at their funeral. Her tone was composed, even bold. She ended her speech with a soft but shocking, "I'm sorry."
For those of you who do not know me, my name is Sarah, and I'm Kristen Brock's daughter and James Brock's stepdaughter. I just wanted to say goodbye to my mom and Jamie since we never got the chance to. I was so used to you guys always being here to the point that I never once thought to imagine y'all not being here. I didn't have a single clue how much I needed y'all until now. For James, thank you for all the life lessons you taught me and for being the best bonus dad ever. Your heart will finally be healed in heaven and to spend together and not sad about the time that we don't. I may always and will always be her sunshine, but she will always be my star from up above. And I know at nighttime I can go and look at Mama and Jamie in the sky, and gladly they will save me a seat in heaven like they saved for you. I'm sorry.
Sorry for what? Report from family members showed that Sarah had reached out to her stepfather's mother again, multiple times, saying, "I'm so sorry for the death of Mr. James." Something didn't sit right. Something that made people stop and ask, is there more to this than we're being told? In the early morning of February 20th, 2025, silence hung heavy over Carrollton, Georgia until a single 911 call broke it wide open. Kristen Brock, 41, and James Brock, 45, were found unresponsive in their bed. It was their daughter Sarah Grace Patrick, just 16 years old, who dialed for help. What unfolded next would flip this small town upside down and spark questions the internet still can't stop asking. Before we begin, if you're drawn to real-life stories that dig deeper than headlines, subscribe, tap that like button, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an upload. You're going to want to follow this one all the way through. So who was Sarah Grace Patrick? By all outward appearances, Sarah was your typical small-town teenager. At just 16 years old, she was a student at Central High School in Carrollton, Georgia, known to many on social media, especially TikTok, where she occasionally posted lifestyle and emotional content. She lived with her mother, Kristen Brock, and stepfather, James Brock, along with her much younger half-sister. Sarah's biological father wasn't in the household, but reports say he maintained some level of contact. Her mother, Kristen, was a devoted mom, described by friends as warm, protective, and family-centered. Her husband, James Brock, was seen by neighbors as respectful and soft-spoken. Together, they presented the image of a blended family working to build something stable. Kristen had Sarah from a previous relationship, and James helped raise her alongside their younger daughter. From the outside, they looked like any regular family. But behind the closed doors of that Carrollton home, something was unraveling, something no one could see coming. In that early morning of February 20th, 2025, Sarah Grace picked up the phone and made the 911 call. Emergency responders rushed to the scene. The once quiet street lit up with sirens, flashing lights, and yellow tape. Neighbors watched in confusion, trying to piece together what just happened. Inside the house, Sarah stood wrapped in a blanket, answering questions. Her voice was steady. Police later described the youngest sibling as the saddest victim, caught in a trauma too big for someone so small. As the scene settled into silence again, investigators got to work. No signs of robbery. Nothing out of place. Only one chilling truth remained. Someone inside that house had pulled the trigger. And the more they looked, the more questions they found. Because this wasn't just a case of tragedy. It was the beginning of a mystery that would unravel across TikTok, funeral speeches, and private DMs to true crime creators. Months after the funeral, Sarah Grace's online presence began to shift. Her grief, once expressed quietly, started to take a more public and puzzling turn. On TikTok, a user believed to be Sarah began messaging popular true crime content creators. One influencer, known as Allegedly Reportedly, shared screenshots with People magazine. The message read, "Search up Brock case, they're my parents, it'd be a really big hit."
Why would you ask me to cover a case where you are going to get arrested for taking your parents' lives? Y'all, this is Sarah Grace, and
Another creator at ShoeLover99 posted that she received a message from Sarah Grace saying, "Mama Todd, I need a mama bad right now. I'm going through it." These messages weren't asking for legal help or privacy. They read more like pitches. Some people felt uneasy. The girl once seen crying at her parents' funeral was now suggesting their deaths might be a hit online. The line between heartbreak and performance started to blur. Meanwhile, Sarah's TikTok page filled with emotional content. She appeared tearful, sometimes silent, sometimes using trending audio. In one clip, mascara streaked down her cheeks as she mouthed along to lyrics. The caption read, "Horror movie that never ends." In another post dated March 1, 2025, she shared childhood photos of herself with her parents. The video was overlaid with dramatic music and a caption that said, "They don't know it, but a year from now me and my 5-year-old sister would find them wrongfully shot dead, and couldn't even say goodbye." Viewers couldn't ignore the shift in tone. What once looked like mourning now felt staged. At the same time, authorities continued building their case. According to a Carroll County spokesperson, investigators gathered mountains of digital evidence. While the details of that evidence haven't been made public, officials confirmed that Sarah's social media activity played a key role in the ongoing investigation. When you return from the footage, the shift is impossible to ignore. What once looked like the mourning of a teenager now leaves room for doubt. People began to ask, was Sarah still grieving, or was she managing an audience? The public started connecting dots in real time. A tear here, a caption there, and private messages inviting coverage of the crime. It all raised one unsettling question. Was this a cry for help or a carefully shaped performance? The once sympathetic narrative turned on its head. Sarah's digital trail wasn't just about feelings, it became part of how the case was shaped. Her online voice, once viewed as vulnerable, now echoed with questions she wasn't prepared to answer. On July 8, 2025, Sarah Grace Patrick, now 17, walked into the Carroll County Sheriff's Office with her biological father and turned herself in. Just months earlier she had called 911, reporting that her parents had been found unresponsive in their bedroom. Now she was at the center of a homicide investigation that had shaken the community. At a press briefing that same day, authorities announced that Sarah was being charged as an adult with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault. According to Carroll County Sheriff's Office spokesperson Ashley Hulsey, investigators had gathered what they described as mountains of physical and digital evidence. While officials did not release details of what that evidence included, they confirmed it was central to filing the charges. The weapon used in the killings has not been recovered or publicly disclosed. In the days following her arrest, members of Sarah's family spoke out. Her grandfather, Dennis Nolan, expressed disbelief, saying in an interview that he couldn't imagine Sarah being capable of such a crime. He pointed out that the case lacked a clear motive and that no gun had been found. He questioned the strength of the case, saying, "They don't have the gun. I just don't see her doing this." Her father, who accompanied her to the sheriff's office, shared a similar view. He noted that there had been no prior incidents of violence and no signs of trouble leading up to the tragedy. Both men said they were heartbroken, but maintained hope that Sarah would be proven innocent. Kristen and James Brock were remembered by members of Catalyst Church, where they had been active as kind-hearted and community-driven. Those who knew them described the couple as deeply devoted to family and faith. Their deaths on the morning of February 20th left not only a daughter in custody but a young child without parents and a neighborhood searching for answers. When Sarah arrived at the station, witnesses described her demeanor as quiet and withdrawn. Thin, pale, and visibly tired, she didn't resemble the confident teenager seen on social media. Instead, she appeared overwhelmed, standing at the center of a tragedy that had now become a legal battle. The case is still ongoing. Authorities have stated that additional arrests are possible, suggesting the investigation may extend beyond Sarah alone. For now, she remains in custody without bond, awaiting the legal process to unfold. What began as a story of loss and heartbreak has now turned into one of suspicion and unanswered questions. With each new detail, the case becomes more layered emotionally, legally, and personally. And beneath it all are the lives forever changed, and the truths still waiting to surface. The investigation into this heartbreaking case is far from over. According to authorities, they're still piecing together evidence, and so are the community. No motive has been revealed, and deputies have said that additional arrests are possible, suggesting more may come to light as the inquiry continues. Perhaps the most heart-wrenching part of this story is the surviving 5 or 6-year-old sister, who lived through the unimaginable. Carroll County spokesperson called her the saddest victim, a child now left without parents and bearing the memory of finding them alone. She represents the deepest emotional scar of this tragedy, a silent witness whose pain can't be voiced. Local news outlets like People and Fox 5 Atlanta have reported on how much this has shattered a once tight-knit community. Neighbors and church members speak of fear and confusion replacing the familiar warmth of a caring family. Pictures of Kristen and James stand in homes and on social media, reminders of lives cut short and futures erased. As it stands, Sarah is in custody, held without bond, facing serious charges as an adult. The motive remains unknown, and investigators are still digging, trying to understand why and how. Additional arrests haven't been ruled out, meaning more could be linked to the crime. This story has no easy answers. The courtroom is where the legal truth will unfold, but nothing there can undo the trauma. One fact remains clear: the little girl who discovered the bodies now bears a burden that should never belong to anyone, let alone a child. Grief has transformed into a complex investigation. Sympathy has shifted toward suspicion. Hope has perhaps turned to fear. And while the case is unraveling piece by piece, questions loom large. What was the real motive? Was Sarah truly responsible, or is someone else involved? How will the surviving child heal? If you want real-time updates and a full breakdown as new evidence surfaces, subscribe and hit the notification bell. We'll follow this story to its end. Drop a comment. What do you think the motive might be? We want your thoughts right here, right now. Until next time, stay safe.